The fourth quarter of the year is very important for Amazon and e-commerce sellers. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas. That means one thing. You need to start preparing your inventory now. Our guest, Lisa Kinskey from Getida, gives the list of inventory deadlines that are set by Amazon to have all FBA sellers sending in their inventory before major shopping holidays. Watch the video and do not miss these deadlines, as it might be your last chance to end the year with a huge profit.
Hi, Lisa. I'm really happy to have you here on Orange Click channel today to talk about a few things how sellers can better prep for the upcoming Q4. So before we go into that, could you first please introduce yourself and also let us know how Getida helps Amazon sellers?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, LISETT, thank you so much for having me. So my name is Lisa Kinskey. I am the Marketing and Partnerships Manager for Getida, and Getida is the global leader in Amazon FBA reimbursements. FBA auditing and reimbursement. So essentially what that means is that we get sellers the most back in their reimbursements for their FBA account. We go through audit for any of those discrepancies, file the claims with Amazon, and just help sellers to become more profitable at the end of the day.
Okay, it sounds really helpful for the sellers, right? You help to save time, money, and also get money back from Amazon.
Exactly. It's a win-win on all. It's a win-win-win all around.
Very good. So today we'll go over a few very important things that sellers have to keep in mind when they're prepping for Q4, right? And to do that, you prepared some slides. So go ahead, share your screen, and we're ready to see what we have to do to get ready for the upcoming holiday season.
So yeah, we do just have a couple of quick points to review here for getting your business ready for Q4. This is being filmed just before the beginning of Q4. It's September 12th today when we're recording this. So just going to go through a few things here, but quickly an overview about Getida. So as Yoni likes to say, is it Getida? Is it Getida? Doesn't really matter that much. It is a half acronym though. So it's for Get Intelligent Data Analytics. So that's what we're really all about, is auditing those accounts, analyzing your analytics, and then getting the most back for your business. We are the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements. Like I said before, we have an award-winning dashboard and technology. You can see here, we've got the 2020 Stevie Award from the American Business Awards. We have a dedicated team of claims specialists. We have over 70 that are focused exclusively on your claims. We have the highest recovery rate in the industry. And on top of all these amazing things that we do, we also have two podcasts. Our first one is Prime Talk, which is hosted by Yoni Mazur. Augustus actually had an episode not long ago, so you guys can head to our YouTube and check that out. And then Rob Moneyman Stanley hosts Sellernomics, which is another podcast where we speak with leaders in the industry to, learn actionable tips and tricks of how sellers can improve their business. In addition to that, we are a software and service partner in the Amazon Seller Central Partner Network. And this year, we actually had a huge milestone of reaching the Inc. 5000 list. We ranked number 215 of the fastest growing businesses. We also are a host and a sponsor of many seller events. If you guys go to this URL, getida.com/Q4, or any quarter that we're currently in, you'll see a full calendar with links to each of the upcoming events. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody. Not sure when this goes live, but at Sell and Scale, we'll be at AMZ Innovate, Accelerate, all of that good stuff. And then of course, Getida is an affordable solution for all sellers. So we're a highly customizable solution. As I mentioned before, you can find us in the Amazon App Store, and we're also in the Service Provider Network. So that's kind of the general overview about Getida. LISETT, I know you know us really well, but do you have any questions before I jump into the content?
Yeah, I would just mention that on Orange Click YouTube channel, we do have many videos with Getida, and we also have a full workshop on reimbursements and everything related to how to sell more profitably in Amazon. So make sure to head over to those videos as well, and you will see Lisa and Rob and Yoni as well.
Awesome. Thank you for that plug. Yeah, that was a ton of fun to do. I hope that your audience got a lot out of it. We definitely had a great time filming that. It was a marathon of a presentation, but boy, it was a great time. All right, awesome. So the first two things that I want to hit here as we're looking to going into Q4 are some deadlines that sellers need to be aware of. So if you've been selling on Amazon for a while, or even if you've just started, you've likely already become aware, but there are inventory deadlines that Amazon has set for the holiday season. So for major Q4 selling days, which are going to be Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and Christmas, Amazon sets deadlines when you can have your inventory in. So let's take a look at this. So November 15th is going to be your deadline to have inventory in for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. And December 2nd is your deadline for your Christmas inventory. So be sure to mark your calendars, work with your freight forwarders, and get that product in by that date. Also keeping in mind that in China, Golden Week is coming up soon. Golden Week always occurs in October. So there's going to be some closures of the factories of that time. So work with your suppliers and your freight forwarders to be sure that you have plenty of product already in production, ready to be shipped out in order to make these high sales days. The second kind of news piece that I want to point out is that restock limits are back. So sellers received an email from Amazon on August 29th saying that as we prepare for the holiday season, those demand patterns usually change. So what they're doing is implementing the restock limits, again, allowing sellers to have at least 4 months of inventory. And although it's going to impact about 5% of sellers, everybody needs to be aware of what their restock limits are. And if you can either follow this URL directly, which is a little bit long, and of course, since we're in video format, this isn't a clickable link. So if you guys want to scan this QR code, it'll take you to your Seller Central account and you can check what your independent restock limits are. So what are a few things that your business needs to do to get ready for Q4? First thing is you need to be able to optimize your packaging. So especially with restock limits being in place, it's important that you maximize the space that you have available to you. So we always use the example of like a soccer ball. If you're selling soccer balls on Amazon and you're selling them inflated, it may be a good idea to begin selling them deflated so that you take up less space in your packaging itself. And then also with the example of any clothing item, you kind of always think that folding things may be the best option, but I've come to learn, especially with all these conferences that we've been doing and traveling around, rolling the item and then placing it in a bag may actually take up less space. It's going to be the same weight, of course, but anything to take up less space. And then something else you may want to do as well, instead of just speaking about how you package the item itself, is talking about the packaging itself. So I always think of like children's toys. I have a bunch of nieces and nephews. Whenever we have Christmas or birthdays, you go to open up this new toy that they have, and the box is so huge and the toy is tiny. There's all these zip ties and stickers and protective packaging pieces. Of course, your item needs to be protected appropriately for travel and transit, but there doesn't need to be 80% packaging and 20% product. So talk with your supplier and see if there's anything that you can do to minimize the actual dimensions of the packaging, not necessarily the product, because we want to keep that as the same as we can. Another key piece to look at, if you checked into our workshop that we did that LISETT referred to before, you might have played a fun game with us where we were guessing the product categories. So you want to be sure that your product is categorized appropriately. Something that sellers, I think, sometimes do, which is not a good practice, we don't recommend this, is placing a product in a completely unrelated category that just has a lot of traffic. And that's not going to be the best case. You might get suspended, or just overall, it's not the right choice. You want to pick the product categorization that best aligns with what your product is and also is going to get you the lowest fees. So let's take a look at this. In the example of a watch, if you're selling it on Amazon, like a women's fashion watch, I would consider something like this an accessory, right? It is a watch, but it could also double as a pretty bracelet. So you may think it belongs in the jewelry category, which has a 20% selling fee. Or you could put it in the watch category, which is 16%. So that's going to save your business 4% on the bottom line. Same with like a dishwasher or a refrigerator. You may feel that it belongs in the kitchen category, which it would go in the kitchen. That's appropriate. It's a kitchen appliance. But if you list it in the full-sized appliance category, it's only going to be your 8% fee. So it's 7%. So these are huge differences where you can apply that, essentially add that back to your bottom line. So you can cut your costs here. And it's just a quick check to see where are your products categorized, maybe where would they fit best. And again, if you guys are unsure of what those fees are for each category, you can scan this QR code right here to double check. One other point that we want to hit here is just optimizing your listing for Q4. There's nothing more uncomfortable to me, maybe not uncomfortable, but it feels clunky as a consumer on Amazon when I am looking for a gift product during the holiday season and I see a bunch of like summer photography. Now, if it's a summer item, like maybe a, water squirt gun for kids, yes, that makes sense. But if it's something like a piece of art, or I don't know, a Christmas coffee mug, I don't need to see that being represented on the beach. It should be done in a gifting type of way. So be sure that you're auditing your listings to be sure everything is spelled correctly, the information about the product is up to date, and just get creative with your visuals, especially if you're trying to hit various markets. Maybe if this is a Hanukkah specific item, be sure that your imagery aligns with that, or Christmas specific, or I don't know, Halloween. Just be sure that everything aligns with the holiday season and being in Q4, but get creative with it. And quality is key. Remember that. There's some really amazing different services where you can get your product photography and videography. So be sure to check out who's in your area, who'd be able to help you out. But remember, quality is key. And then, of course, the final thing that we want to go over is auditing your Amazon fees. So you want to close out the year as profitable as possible. And that's regardless of whether you want to sell your Amazon business or not. Just keeping those numbers up is, of course, important, right? You want to see your business grow, and you want to have the most accurate view of how the business is doing at the end of the day. So 5 of the major kinds of audits that Getida can help you with, or you guys can do in-house, are going to be looking for your FBA inbound shipments, lost or damaged units, FBA customer refunds, removal orders, and weights and dimensions. So these are kind of the 5 main kinds of FBA recovery that you can, process. These are the timeline overviews of which Amazon allows you to file those claims. So you can see for FBA inbound shipments, there is a slight discrepancy between the US and the EU and UK. You have 6 months to go back on those in the EU and UK, 9 months in the US. You can go back 18 months on the lost and damaged units, FBA customer refunds, and removal orders, and then 3 months with your weights and dimensions fees. So that goes back to what we were talking about with packaging, being sure that the items you have are optimized for your space. And not only that, but ensuring that what your actual product weights and dimensions are align with what Amazon has. Because things happen. Folks mismeasure things. Their automatic scanners might be a little bit off. So you want to be sure that those are like 1 for 1 down to the millimeter or centimeter, whatever unit of measurement you use, so that your product is not being miscategorized as an oversized or overweight, et cetera, so that you're not being overcharged for your fees. So auditing. So it's just some information about auditing in general and kind of where Getida would be able to help you out, in improving your profitability before the end of the year. Your FBA discrepancies can range between 1% to 3% of a seller's annual FBA revenue. And this is pretty well across the board. This is a question that we get a lot of the time is this just in the US markets, or I shouldn't say US, is this just in North American markets, or is it just Amazon US, or is it just Amazon Canada? It's pretty much the same across the board, we've come to find. So at 1% to 3% might not sound like a lot, but if you're a $1 million seller, if you're a $10 million seller, that gets really expensive really quickly. That's a lot of money that's being left on the table. Back to the timeline that we covered earlier, Amazon allows you to go back up to 18 months for most of the discrepancies. We saw that on the previous slide, but the cases do eventually expire. So if you don't take advantage of that timeline that they've given you to go back, file the claims on these discrepancies, unfortunately, that money will be gone. So you want to be sure to be checking these points of your business at least on a monthly basis, depending on, what your staff allows, or outsourcing to a third party that can audit it more consistently so that you're not accidentally missing out on these timelines. Because weights and dimensions, 3 months, that's not very long. And sometimes you just get busy with your business and you're not able to check in on it regularly. So be sure to stay on top of it. And then number 3, sellers need to reply to cases when Amazon is asking for more documentation. This is so important. This goes back to the timelines that you're provided to be able to file these claims. If Amazon's asking you for documentation, so either proof of purchase or proof of delivery for an open claim, and you don't provide it and that expires, unfortunately, that door is kind of closed. So again, 3 major points to remember. Anywhere between 1% to 3% of your business could be impacted. You've got up to 18 months on most, and you've got to give that documentation in a timely manner. So why might you need help with FBA auditing? Here are all of the different kinds of refunds that you could be eligible for, all of the different kinds of claims that you could audit your account for. And this is a lot, right? I think it's over 30. And so it's just a lot to manage for a team. And there's many services out there that offer it. Getida is one of them. We just happen to be one of them. We do cover all of these different kinds of claims with daily auditing on your account so that we don't miss out on anything. And there's an enormous potential return on your business for auditing these regularly, filing them through to completion, and getting the money back. So let's take a look at a really quick case study, and then I'll be at the end of the presentation. So if you guys have ever worked with Getida before, you know somebody who has worked with Getida, you've probably seen some pretty significant returns. So if we check out here, we've got an $18 million seller. They've got quite a few units that are being sold, but here's the number of units that are being affected. So in total, it's 2.81%. This is a real case study, remember, from a Getida customer. So between 1% and 3%, they had 2.81. And after filing through Getida, after going through our claims team, we were able to increase that profit by 10.92%. So before using Getida, they were 1.3 million in gross profit. After Getida, they became 1.5 million. And that could be absolutely huge for a business whenever you're looking to sell, or if you're buying an Amazon business. So if you're looking to sell your Amazon business, we all know that the value of your business before the multiplier is really important, right? Because it's a multiplier. If you're starting as a $2 million and you become a 3 million and you have a 5x multiplier, that makes an enormous difference. Or if you're purchasing an Amazon business and maybe they haven't done these reimbursements before, that is automatically an enormous amount of money that you can get back on your investment if you just file these claims, and you can get 1% to 3% back on whatever you just purchased. So we've actually got a group here that we like to recommend. It's Northbound Group. They're a strategic advisement firm that assists with the sale of your business, strategic financing, mergers and buyouts, and supplier negotiations, really for sellers that are looking to sell their business. This would be a great company to reach out to. They may have somebody who would be interested, or they'd be able to help you with the valuation and kind of buttoning everything up before the sale of your business. You can check them out at getida.com/NBG, or by scanning the QR code that we have here. We like to offer our Orange Klik audience first $400 in FBA reimbursements free through Getida. So you can go to getida.com/Klik, Klik. And if you just follow that URL, it'll automatically fill in the promo code Orange Klik, and that'll get you your first $400 in reimbursements free. We'll do your 18-month look back and then a daily audit moving forward. And of course, our service is pay per recovery. So there's no membership fee. There's no sign-on, no subscription, no account setup fee or anything like that. It is purely a pay per recovery. So we don't get paid unless the seller gets paid.
Okay, sounds like a really good deal. So thank you so much, Lisa, for giving this overview of different things sellers should review and pay attention to before heading to Q4. So my first question is, I know Getida goes to a lot of events, and we just discussed about it also before we started recording. So this means you meet also a lot of Amazon sellers. And I wanted to ask, going around in these events, what are the things sellers are usually talking about when it comes to the upcoming Q4? Are they excited? Do they have any worries? What are their general thoughts about it?
Yeah, everybody's really excited about Q4. I think that this is going to be an even more interesting one because I believe there's going to be a fall Prime Day here in the US. So it's going to look a little bit different this year. I know that everybody has certain feelings about the bringing back of the restock limits, but in general, here in the US, at least, we're kind of back to normal, maybe looking a little more like the pre-COVID days. So I think everybody's excited for a more predictable Q4. We don't have as, lengthy of logistics delays or as pricey of container prices. I mean, everything is kind of starting to settle back out. So everybody's really excited for a predictable, profitable Q4.
Okay. And regarding to Christmas shopping, then what do you think, generally speaking, when do people start looking for Christmas gifts and stuff? When is the right time to get, let's say, upload those Christmassy images and make some updates to the listing page?
Yeah, that's a great question. So that's not something that I specialize in. I can speak kind of as a consumer, if you will.
Yeah, that's good as well. We never get the consumer perspective, so that's nice.
From the consumer's perspective, anything after Halloween, I think is okay. So come November 1st, if your listing has a Santa Claus or something in it, I'm okay with that. But before Halloween, I'm like, okay, you guys, come on. It's 3 months ahead of time. Let's pump the brakes. But yeah, I'd say somewhere between the 1st to 2nd week of November would be appropriate, because Thanksgiving, you know, a holiday we have here in the US, isn't really a gifting holiday. I mean, it really isn't. It's just all about, you know, food and gathering. But by that time, a lot of families here at least are doing maybe Secret Santa exchanges with their family, or pulling names for that. Or I know there's some aunties and grandmas who started buying for Christmas stuff in like July. I'm going to consider them the outlier. But yeah, I'd say kind of the first 2 weeks of November would be appropriate in my opinion. And I know from a keyword targeting perspective and changing your, you know, I've spoken to some people before who talk about changing the photography, and they've advised the same as well.
Okay, very good insights. Okay, so Lisa, thank you so much again for coming here today to join me. So before we go, could you once more explain how Getida works and what's the best way to reach out to you and sign up for your service?
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for having me, Lisette. So again, Getida is the global leader in FBA auditing and reimbursements, and we help sellers get the most back from those discrepancies in FBA inventory and make their business more profitable. So again, a no sign-on fee, no membership, no subscriptions. It is a pay per recovery service. We do take a percentage whenever the seller is reimbursed, but it is only when the seller is reimbursed. So we don't get paid unless you get paid. We audit your accounts daily, and currently Getida is actually auditing over billions of dollars in transactions daily across the North American and European markets, including the UK. Sellers can be based out of anywhere, but we're able to assist with stores in these areas with hopeful expansion soon. And that's all the more I can say on that. And if you guys want to get started, like I said before, you can sign up and get your first $400 in reimbursements free by visiting getida.com/Klik, Klik, or you can just visit us at Getida.com for more information. And if you guys have any questions for myself specifically, you can email me at lisa@getida.com.
Very good. Thank you so much. So we wish you have a great upcoming Q4 and also Christmas holidays, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you so much.
Click the like and subscribe buttons below the video if you find this content helpful. This way we can reach more people with our videos. And now I recommend to watch a full workshop with Getida about Amazon FBA reimbursements.